He who accompany the bear to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of Ra, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine, which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is me, and I am him. Mine is the radiance, wherein Ta floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high, I tread upon the firmament of Nu. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on the
My third eye's open, I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in the moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My third eye open, I can see past the commotion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm guaranteed to check like TSA. One in a million like a
to go Indigo, this Christmas trip. Back up in the mix.
Feel it. You get to step into a new now moment. You got a chance to sleep, and sleep gives you reset. Some people believe sleep is a dying, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's a rebirth. You're seeking. Ra can only tell you, we did it. We know you can do it. Pat you on the back and say, get to it. So are you ready? I know
I have Hape from the Ta family. Hapi. If you guys look, there's a little bit of a unification energy. I believe we mentioned something about unification and union. That will be a catalyst for us to then have the opportunity, with our free will and being an alchemist of energy, to transmute that energy and transcend it, whatever it is that's triggering us, whatever it is that is holding density and blockages, through our being, radiating its divine energies. Right now, everybody, and welcome to another episode of SaCrEd Light NiGhT. Marcus Christolight here. And before we continue our journey into the Emerald Tablets with tablet number 2, it's going to be part 4 of tablet 2 itself of the Emerald Tablets, the Halls of Amenti. So before we dive into this episode, I'd like to take us back to last week, where we explore tablet 2, and we also had a sacred guest as well.
I can see past the commotion. I can get lost in a moment. Yeah. I live on the side.
Second. So tonight's the Emerald Tablets. Okay.
That's right.
I got my emerald.
Oh, Emerald Sapphire.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gorgeous. It's intense. 345 is a spark of belief. There's just something about that. Yeah. And then you switch up the numbers 543 or 354, and it equals the Archangel Michael, which is interesting. Unite and the spark.
Judging and weighing, they with their wisdom, watching the progress of light among men. So actually, I kind of said that right before reading that.
Yeah.
Judging and weighing with their wisdom. So basically, like, what I was just saying is, they've gone through the descension and ascension process in order to be able to get to a place where the Creator allows them to be able to hold a position of an ascended space. And in order for you to hold a ascended position within this existence creation, you have to obtain enough wisdom through your experiences of this. So yeah, that was last week as we explored tablet number 2. And we're just going to pick up on where we left off. And as we begin, I actually invite you guys to take a few breaths and ground with me as well. And to do so, just allow yourself to relax. And you can sit or lay down, whichever you prefer. Then we're going to check in with the shoulders, relaxing our shoulders down to the side. And then relaxing the teeth as well, making sure we're not clenching our teeth. And relaxing any other parts of the body. And bringing focus to the breath, breathing in through the nose, drawing the breath down all the way to the earth. And exhaling out of the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, down to the earth, and exhaling out of the mouth. Continue to focus on the breathing. And just allow yourself to feel the music, feel the energy, feel the Egypt in the music. And just allow it to fill your body, your cells, brain. And just continuing to breathe. And just feeling yourself connecting with a golden energy. And then with this golden energy, you can also feel the connection with a green emerald energy. And then just feel the connection and allow that energy to be as we get ready to continue this study. Welcome in, everybody. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pull up our Emerald Tablet study. And you guys can actually find this online yourself. You can follow along at home. It's on Christolight.com. And this is tablet number 2, The Halls of Amenti. So we're pretty far. We're on part 4 of tablet number 2 now. So we're a little ways down. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think this is where we left off. All right. Okay. All right, so this is where we left off here on tablet number 2. So as usual, I just like to give the reminder to everybody out there before we go into these studies that, number 1, we are studying this from an I am standpoint. So we are not separating ourselves from Thoth. We are not separating ourselves from these teachings, but we are reflecting on these teachings from something internal as a dialogue of our expanded consciousness of the universal creator. And along with that, we're also not worshiping, idolizing, or glorifying Thoth or any other beings, but we are just studying the principles and teachings of nature and the creation of the existence of life. So with that, we're just looking for ways to apply it to our everyday life, to holistically and tangibly introduce it into our mental, emotional, and physical well-beings. So as we continue here, we have dwell here or leave here when thou desireth. Oh, okay. We actually already read that one. So we'll go to the next. One step thou has gained on the long pathway upward. Infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step thou taketh, but heightens the mountain. All of thy progress, but lengthens the goal. So I like to go through a few of these, and then I'll go back and reflect and go through each one with you guys. And feel free to comment and share what you guys feel from it. I'm sure you guys get downloads or insight or visions, many other things. So we have approach ye ever, the infinite wisdom, ever before thee receives the goal. Free are ye, made now of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together. Bring of light to the children of men. Then, from his throne, came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward to the halls of the deep, hidden land. Led he me to the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are now known not to men. Wow, okay. So we have one step thou hast gained on the long pathway upward. Infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step thou taketh but heightens the mountain. All of thy progress but lengthens the goal. Oof, I like that. So very easily to break down what I'm getting from this. Again, feel free to share if you feel like you have anything. What I'm really picking up from this is basically Thoth is explaining that no matter what way you choose, or no matter how far you feel like you may have gone on your path, or how far you are behind or traveling or have to go. You are in the infinite. You are in the eternal life of experience after experience. And it's not just human experience. It's experience of your soul that will experience as this human, that experienced before this human, and will experience after this human in another form, in another being, and in other different ways. So this is where we're speaking. This is the level of where we're trying to mentally vibrate when it comes to these teachings of Thoth here. It is not really speaking directly to the human self, but more so speaking to the soul, the one that is the player behind the avatar. And sometimes that player likes to play asleep a little bit, but the player can be talked to and woken up in certain ways that will get its attention. And these teachings are one of those ways that can help you kind of access that player a little bit more. So that's pretty much what Thoth is just explaining. That first one is, no matter how far you feel like you go, no matter what you do or how far behind you may feel, there really is nowhere to be. There is nowhere to go when it comes to the universal scheme of things, because it's just infinite experience. Where else is there to go? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And we are energy. But we are just going through different forms. Quite fascinating. So with that, you can really settle into more divine peace within your being. And that's kind of one of the goals in a lot of ancient traditions, is accessing that divine peace within. And not just when you are transitioning, passing away, but through your whole life. And to be able to live your life with that divine peace. So I really like to, I also says, each step thou taketh but heightens the mountain. All of my progress but lengthens the goal. Approach ye ever the infinite wisdom. Ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye made now of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world. One and one purpose, working together, bring of light to the children of men. Wow. So I want to point out something too that's really coming through for me to share. When it comes to this last sentence here. And it says, each step thou taketh but heightens the mountain. All of my progress but lengthens the goal. So what if I told you there was a way around that? And Thoth found that way around that. Feel free to take a moment and think about what you think that way around that would be. That continuous climb up the mountain. Always chasing the next thing. What do you think there is that we can do to get around that? almost like the golden key that a lot of us as human beings want to find is the way out of that. Feel free to put in the comments too if you think of something. And it's almost like a mindset or an embodiment more than an action. But of course, actions are required. All right, we'll give you about a Jeopardy moment. Okay. So, the way around that, having to constantly climb the mountain, having to constantly overachieve and constantly be on overdrive in this world, the key is to know thyself. What do I mean by know thyself? The key is to know that you already are what it is that you wish to achieve. And the more that you just continue to support yourself, keep yourself healed, address the areas that aren't healed, continue to give yourself the routines, the practices, make sure that you're in clarity, grounded, hydrated, full of good nutrients, being loved correctly, working towards your passions. Those are the things that can get you out of that continuous climb of the mountain. The more that you just do not feel the desire and need to prove anything, to live to anybody's standard, to put yourself on overdrive or reject how you authentically feel, you'll notice that things will begin to kind of vortex and magnetize surrounding you and how you feel and what you want. And that's actually always the case, 24/7. But we may not be consciously aware of that. But when we become consciously aware of that, it's like a superpower. And we're able to start shifting our vibratory field. And then that reflects into our outer world. it is also a process, especially with where our beings may currently be at. And that's the thing, is we gotta be honest with ourselves and really see where we are with the being that we have, because there's accountability that comes with this. So as we continue, it says, approach ye ever the infinite wisdom. Ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye, me now, of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together, bringing of light to the children of men. So I think Thoth is just explaining that he basically ascended after his final incarnation here on this earth. He said, approach ye ever the infinite wisdom. Ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye me now, made of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together, bring of light to the children of men. So, from the standpoint of within ourselves, I feel like this is also saying basically, that raising of your consciousness, or that raising of your Kundalini energy, making its way to the crown, where it then releases out of the halls, which are the different chakras, the different centers, the different dimensions. And then it accesses the infinite wisdom. And then that infinite wisdom just flows freely through the being and through your human body. Once you raise that Kundalini, that infinite wisdom flows through your human being. So then it allows you to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, in one purpose, working together, bring of light to the children of men. So again, it's that vice versa aspect of the outer world and the inner world. You can think of it as Thoth going through the experience of his ascension and making his way through all of his human incarnations to where he then became like an ascended master type of feel. But then internally, for every human being, you can think of this as the raising of your Kundalini all the way up through your crown, thus accessing the infinite wisdom to flow through your being freely. And then thus allowing you to be one in one purpose with the children of light. So yeah, this is a good place to talk about the chakras a little bit. And I'll go ahead and pull up the chakras if it will allow me. Okay, here we go. So we got the chakras up here for you guys. And the chakras. Let me actually slow this down a second. Okay. All right, so the chakras, when we talk about the aspect of basically raising your Kundalini energy, or basically raising your consciousness. It's talking about taking your human energy or your human consciousness and raising that from the base, which is your root chakra, all the way up to your crown chakra, which is like the top of your human being. And then once it reaches the top, it then releases out of the 7 chakras, and that goes into what they like to say in this text is the infinite wisdom. So then, as you can see from this diagram, it's actually showing you the motions of the masculine and the feminine sides of our being and how they magnetically rotate. So left side is your feminine. This is your receiving side. Right side is your masculine. This is your output or action side. So the key is this middle pole. You can see there's a middle pole that goes through these 7 chakras. That middle pole is basically like your access point to balanced divine energy or Christ conscious energy. And the key is you want to have that pole being able to stream through your chakra centers clearly, fluidly, and easily. So the more that they are doing that, the more you will be in balance with your heaven and earth energies, or your higher and lower self. And not only that, but this will also translate into your mental, emotional, and physical health as well. And that's vice versa. If there's blockages, disorder, and disease within this being, then you will receive those type of manifestations in your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So this is something that we're all accountable for as human beings in this journey, is these vehicles, these vessels, and what comes with them, multidimensionality. So closing out with the chakras here, basically, the more we have our centers cleared, the more that they're activated, then we will have that universal connection to sit with the Lords, to sit with the Masters, because that's the stream connection, is through that cord of light that travels to the crown. If that cord of light travels to the crown, then through the energy centers correctly, while in balance with our earth energies, then we are able to have what feels like a very lucid, multi-dimensional experience every day. And we can access a lot of divine-like energies in our everyday life. So that is also something that comes up for me to share when it comes to what we were speaking on with Thoth. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on. Thank you, Mary Todd. Appreciate you on the Facebook side. Thank you to all of you that are here tonight. So continuing on, we have, then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward through all the halls of the deep hidden land. led me through the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are known not to man. Okay. So there are many different type of beings that we can call masters, council members, Christ figures, all sorts of different names that basically are like Law of One holders. If you guys know what the Law of One is, the Law of One is basically the divine order and the beings that help maintain the divine order and balance of existence for the creator. So it's like the archangels, the ascended masters, and there's much more, and we've actually covered some of them in this series. So I think right here he's speaking on one of them. And he says, "Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward, through all the halls of the deep hidden land, led me through the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are known not to man." Very interesting. I gotta say, so from the inner perspective, what I'm getting from my translation is, once you raise your consciousness, your higher consciousness or higher intelligence, which is going to be one of the masters, is going to awaken within yourself. And in that newfound awakened awareness perspective within your own consciousness of your being is going to help you highlight and bring light upon a shadow or aspect of yourself that may have been a catalyst or may have had a connection to what brought you to that enlightened space. I'm gonna say that again one more time for you guys. So when we have like an awakening moment, or we go through what we call like a I don't know why I can't even think of the name, but when we go through like a ego death experience, you know, we go through those ego death experiences, and when we go through it, we kind of like take a stroll into our dark, shadowy underworld, and we know it's only for a temporary moment to do some deep shadow work. But as we go through that, you know, it's like we go through it with a master consciousness of our own self. And that master consciousness of our own self is where we are observing from as we travel through that shadow underworld of ourself. And then as we go through that higher perspective, while we go through our shadow underworld, we're able to pick up the wisdom and the deeper meanings behind the shadows that we've had, which relate to our past. Then we integrate them. We just become more stronger, more wiser, more brighter. And the only way, which is why it says they are not known to man, is because the only way that you can become aware of your shadows or of your underworld is by raising your consciousness into the master perspective of your own self. But if you stay at the conscious level of man and choose to believe that you are only man and can only perceive as man, then you will not be able to see the outer perspective of what man is. And I'll say that part again for you guys. If you choose to stay at the level, depth, and limitation of only being able to perceive as man and be man, then you will not be able to perceive, observe, and pick up on what is beyond man until you choose to not limitate as man. When you're in it, you cannot really see it as you would see it from a observer perspective. But then when you step out of it, you're able to observe it from a higher dimension. So it's just like you can find these different teachings about dimensions and how dimensions work. And these dimensions are mental in our perception as well, or multidimensional. So when you're in the first dimension, you can't perceive the first dimension. When you're in the second dimension, you can perceive the first dimension. And when you're in the third dimension, you can perceive the first and the second dimension. When you're in the fourth, you can perceive the first, second, and third. Fifth, first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. So the higher the dimension of your perception, the more dimensions you can see all at once. But you cannot see dimensions that are above or more than the dimension that you are presently in your perceptual awareness. Now that's the key, is remembering that you are multidimensional consciousness, your spiritual energy that is beyond this body. So the more that you choose to only attach and believe and focus on this third dimension, then that is what your reality of all of life will become more prevalent as. But the more that you allow yourself to start perceiving and opening up to the fourth, the fifth, the sixth dimension, learning about what they are in depth, becoming more aware of them, doing things to enhance your ways of tapping in and having experiences with them, then that will become more of what is your present. And you will also mentally be able to perceive from that perception of dimension. Therefore, say you choose to start perceiving from a fourth dimension, then you start to see the third dimension from a little bit higher vibrational perspective. It's pretty deep. It's
It's pretty difficult to explain without really being prepared to explain. But as always, you guys can always research and look deeper into these things. Just look up, the dimensions. What are the dimensions? There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a really pretty awesome guy. He's a little bit younger. His name is De Stefanos. Can't remember his name, but he's on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, and he talks about the dimensions very well. So as we continue here, we have so we were talking about basically our consciousness from a higher perception going through our shadow experiences, and through that awakening newfound wisdom and awareness within ourselves. So then it says, through the dark passage downward he led me, into the hall or sight the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, walled by darkness, but yet filled with light. So through the dark passage downward he led me, into the hall where sit the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, walled by darkness, but yet filled with light. So this may sound strange, but what if I told you guys that what's like the vast death to us, because we're in the light, we're in creation, which is light, is nothing more than this source, or infinite, the eternal, non-existent. That's like what death is to us, because we're in the light and existing. And when you really think about that, there's nothing scary about death then, because you realize that you're always part of the eternal spirit, whether you're in existence or not in existence. So I think that's kind of like what Thoth is getting at here is, darkness, light, life, death, it's all still a part of the eternal source, creator, consciousness of all that is, no matter what. And we're all in it. We're secure and safe always in this eternal consciousness. Whether we're in life, quote unquote, which is in a body, conscious in a body, or in death, where we're just pure spiritual energy. So, that's really how you free yourself from a mentee there. And if anybody's not aware, what is a mentee? A mentee is creation, the dimensions of life, existence, everything that is. So there is everything that is, and there's everything that is not. Believe it or not. It's like they're saying there's source and there's God. Is God source or is source God? So when it comes to like, if you're doing archetypes and you're trying to be literal about things, in the archetype sense, God wouldn't be source because nothing is source. Source doesn't exist. But God is all that exists. So again, and of course, this is not something that I like live my life by or anything. For me, I don't really care to define source. I just know that everything is of source. And that's just all I go by. But just from like a creative standpoint, like you think about existence and how existence, I guess, formates and exists. Source wouldn't actually be God, and God wouldn't be source when it comes to the functions of the universe. The archetype God is all that exists. But source technically doesn't exist, doesn't have any type of existence or form. I think that's why they also kind of like subconsciously do this thing with like God, and they have, you know, God versus the devil, God versus this, because it's like the existence of all, and then in order for there to be the existence of the all, there would have to be the absence of it. And then that's when the great paradox begins in creation. Because in order for there to be the existence of all, there would have to be the opposite. It's one of the Hermetic principles. Everything has an equal and opposite. Everything has a yin and a yang. And it doesn't mean it's good or bad, it doesn't mean it's separate. It just allows each other to exist. But there can be out of balance that takes place in the present moments of existence. That's the thing, is we're in the ever-present moments of existence. So everything is always shifting and changing. Whew, we're getting deep. Tower moment. Fortunately, the dark is fading away through this revolution. Yeah, I'd say so. I would definitely say so. And I always like to remind people as well that, you know, not only does things happen outside of us in this world, but I will always remind us that it comes down to our own individual self and what it is that we are doing in our individual energy fields, our individual lives. What it is that we continue to do through our actions daily, the way that we continue to think and continue to have our thought patterns, focus our energy, the intentions that we have daily, the routines that we have, the things that we are creating patterns with. And if we're grounding ourselves, as well as activating, detoxing, being the examples, holding and creating the spaces for others, you know, these things all factor in our everyday lives in speeding up the process of bringing more light into our collective consciousness, helping this world become more healed and uplifted and unified in the energy. And that's something I always remind people of, is what we can do in our everyday life starting with our own self, knowing that there is nothing to wait on, there is nobody to wait for, there is nothing that is going to do everything for us, but we have to do it as a human being species. And not only do it individually in our own lives, but find ways to coexist, ways to do it together, with ways to build as a team, and be able to have beautiful community and communion with each other. I think those are the things that are going to really make a difference in this revolutionary time that we're in. You know, we can go through these changes, we can go through these tough times and other things that are coming with it. And we're going to be going through some things and changes no matter what. But the quality, the way that we go through it, the way that we feel connected, the way that we feel disconnected, the way that we love, the way that we hate, the love that we, everything else under the sun, go through as we go through these times is not going to come down to any politician. It's not going to come down to anybody that is in a leadership position. It is going to come down to our own selves on the quality and the way that we feel energy, connection, and experience our time as we go through this great change in these revolutionary times on this planet. And that's just letting go of anybody in any position, letting go of anything outside of us to determine, alter, and factor into what we are going to experience within our own self when it comes to our journey that we were born into this earth with, and will leave this earth and continue. So may we just think about that and process with that, allow that to sit through our being, sit in our heart and our mind, allow that to bridge and connect, and just really think about where we've been placing our emotions, how we've been using our emotions. Maybe there's some forgiveness we need to do for ourselves, for somebody else. Maybe there is some vulnerability. Maybe there's some healing that's needed. And just think about where you're at mentally as well. What kind of memories are still coming up for you? Where have you been focusing your mental energy? What kind of programmings have you been receiving? What kind of repetition are you continuing in your mind? Are you attached to past things, thinking about the future? So if you may, as you continue to travel through this, just perhaps stay conscious of your breathing and just take some breaths as you sit with these focuses and energies. All right, we'll continue on as you guys continue to stay in your space. So he says, before me arose a great throne of darkness, Veiled on it sat a figure of night. Darker than darkness sat the great figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. Before it then passed the Master speaking, the word that brings about life, saying, O Master of darkness, guide of the way from life into life, before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame the darkness of night. Know him and see him. None of our brothers lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free first its flame through the darkness of night. Wow, okay. Definitely have to read that one again. So we have, before me arose a great throne of darkness. Veiled on it sat a figure of night. Darker than darkness sat the great figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. Before it then paused the Master, speaking. The word that brings about life, saying, O Master of darkness, guide of the way from life unto life. Before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever the power of night. Call not his flame the darkness of night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free, let it flame to the darkness of night. Wow, that's deep. Whoa. Okay. So I'm going to give you the external perspective. So this is Thoth talking about basically once he had his final incarnation, and after he had it and he passed away from his body, he was then taken. And when he was taken by one of the masters. Or no, he continued with the master that he was speaking on right before this. So the master then took him to the Master of Darkness. So there's a Master of Light, there's a Master of Darkness. Now, this is again where it's kind of talking about, God and the devil. You can think of the devil as the god of darkness, or, the master of darkness. And then God is the master of life. So God came to him once he had finished his incarnation cycles as a soul, and he was ready to ascend beyond his incarnation from the halls of Amenti, which are the different dimensions of existence. Basically saying that God came and God told the devil, if you want to put, and of course, this is very figurative. I'm not someone that sits here and lives a Christian-based lifestyle or anything like that. This is from a figurative standpoint of the archetypes. So, even describing in the Bible, they say that Satan or the devil is basically the Lord of the earth. He's the Lord of the underworld. So this is also in the same kind of context, but different translation in a way. And again, this is also talking about your own consciousness within yourself, which we're about to key in on. So this is the external version where it's talking about Thoth is now being released from being a part of this playground, being a part of this place where the devil is the Lord, which is, karmic experiences, going through darkness, forgetfulness, obtaining light, becoming enlightened again. Not a bad thing, just part of lower dimensional awareness. So with that being said, as you can see, there is a relationship between God and the devil in this aspect. The master of light and the master of dark. And they coincide each other. They have their specific roles and their specific places where they help with a multidimensional experience. So Thoth basically ascended beyond his incarnations, no longer had to experience through darkness anymore, and became part of the masters. But then it says, the master of life speaking to the master of death, a master of darkness, guided the way from life to life. So think about that too. It's also talking about how the master of darkness is also the guide from life into life. So without death, without darkness, we wouldn't be able to have one experience and then the next experience. Or we wouldn't be able to have one incarnation and then the next incarnation of experience. Because we got to be able to, quote unquote, die or leave from this body or leave from this experience here to go to the next one. So then it says, and also think about that too. It says, guide up the way from life unto life. So darkness also is the guide for us. It guides us from one life to the next. And then it says, before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame to the darkness of night. Know him and see him. One of our brothers lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free let it flame the darkness of night. But yeah, again, it's just that confirmation that the consciousness within Thoth, which also within ourselves, has been raised and is now staying raised because of the enlightenment that has taken place within ourselves. And with that being said, we have found the conscious awareness of our connection with the source or with Creator. Therefore, not needing to attach to the world, not needing to attach to what is going on the outside. So raise then the hand of the figure. Forth came a flame that grew clear and bright. Rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, unveiled the halls from the darkness of night. Then grow in the great space before me, flame after flame, in the veil of the night, and count uncounted millions lean they before me, some flaming forth as flowers of fire. Interesting. So to finish off, we will close out these two, and then looks like we'll be doing part 5. Man, this tablet is a good one. So we have raised then the hand of the figure. Forth came a flame that grew clear and bright. Rolled back swiftly curtain of darkness unveiled the hall in the darkness of night. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is no longer were the illusions or the veil that was over the third eye, over the mind's eye, available, no longer there, no longer necessary. As, the game has been won, as in the awakening within has taken place. There is no veil no longer. When you achieve that stage of enlightenment within yourself, as you no longer even need to see light and dark, life and death, you see it all as eternal life, ever flowing beyond just one existence. So then it says, then grew in the great space before me, flame after flame, the veil of the night. Uncounted millions leaped they before me, some flaming forth as flowers of light. And this is saying basically the cosmos. And what is the cosmos? The cosmos is the divine order. It's all of existence in its perfection. And within that is infinite existences, expanding, multiplying, destroying, recreating, but never truly ever going away, as energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but infinite and eternal through different quantum spaces of energy, frequency, and vibration. Thank you as well. You have a good night over there. Appreciate you. Take care. So yeah, some very good truths and divine wisdom to just really settle into the mind as we go into this night cat. And I guess you could say day as well, wherever you are. But for all of you, thank you for joining me on this wonderful episode as we continued Emerald Tablet number 2 of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth here in the SaCrEd Light Community Nightcap. And for everybody out there, last night, or yesterday during the daytime, I should say, there is a wonderful sister of mine out of California that I've had my Raw Material Law of One podcast with. And I just want to give you guys a little look and let's take a peek at our episode from yesterday, as we explore a little bit of the Great Pyramids and some other things, the raw channelings.
Yeah, we in the building. Star season to go in, you know those crystal children. Back up in the mix,
Feel it. You get to step into a new now moment. You got a chance to sleep, and sleep gives you reset. Some people believe sleep is a dying, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's a rebirth you're seeking. Ra can only tell you, we did it. We know you can do it. Pat you on the back and say, get to it. So are you ready? I know.
We have Hape from the Ta family. HAPI. If you guys look, there's a little bit of a unification energy. I believe we mentioned something about unification and union. That will be a catalyst for us to then have the opportunity, with our free will and being an alchemist of energy, to transmute that energy and transcend it, whatever it is that's triggering us, whatever it is that is holding density and blockages, through our being, radiating its divine energies.
So yeah, that's Ascending Beyond Limitations, Raw Material Law of One. And you can find that on my YouTube channel, SaCrEd Light Healing and Wellness, as well as Sandra's Soul Awakening with Sandra. And we are on episode 52 next week. So you guys can check out all 51 episodes. We talk about various figures from Yeshua to Adolf, his soul journey. We talk about Tesla, Bashar, and so many more, as well as the chakras. So with that being said, you guys have a blessed and wonderful night or day wherever you are. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful episode of NiGhT, and I'll see you guys next week. And if you guys want to stay put, I'm also going to be hosting a holistic retreat coming up in Hocking Hills, Ohio on April 5th and 6th. And here is a little sneak peek and promo for you guys to check out if you may be interested in this retreat.
Come take a journey, April 5th and 6th, for a holistic, nature-based 2-day retreat event taking place in Hocking Hills, Ohio. This beautiful 2-day event, hosted by myself, Marcus Christolight of SaCrEd Light, along with fellow Sacred Kingdom community members, we will be offering and delivering to you sacred and holistic space where we will be diving into holistic sound healing and shadow work flow shops. Along with that, we will also be doing beautiful traditional cacao ceremonies and also exploring and hiking Hocking Hills. And to complement all these beautiful activities, we will be able to snack on delicious foods, and you guys will also be having your breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided for. Vegetarian and vegan options. And along with this, we'll be doing overnight camping, and there will be hooping flow shops, as well as other interactions with the elements in nature. This is a wonderful space for you to be able to holistically heal, become empowered with education, and take tools into your everyday life for conscious empowerment. Reach out, ask questions if you have any. I'd love to see you there. Begin your process by scanning the QR code and to register. Wholeness and balanced love.